But what here Jesus invites her to deeper dialogue because he wants to give her a deeper relationship. And in the middle of that conversation, when she says, I want that water, and he says, go get your husband. When he reveals that he already knows who she is, then they get a little deeper. She gets spiritual on him. She says, the Samaritans believe that you ought to worship on the mountain. You Jews believe that Jerusalem is the place to worship. And it's almost as if Jesus cuts her off. Stop right there. That's based upon a misunderstanding of who God is. Because you think that God is limited to sacred spaces. But true worship is not localized. You can write that down somewhere. I think it is wonderful and it is necessary for us to come together in the worship context. I think because of the fellowship, the connectivity, the relationship with others that have gone through what you're going through and worship the same God that you are worshiping, I think it's important that we come together. Don't get me wrong. I do think that certain things happen when we are spiritually in tune with one another that do not happen necessarily in other places, but I don't want your worship to be restricted to Sunday morning or church sanctuaries. God does not leave us when we leave the church facility. And some of your most powerful relationships and encounters with the eternal will not happen in church. It will not happen when those areas that have been sanctified. It will not happen on Sunday. I am so glad that God does not limit his availability to Sunday morning. I can handle Sunday morning. You ain't feeling me. Yeah, when I'm sitting beside somebody that's smiling with me and praying for me, I can handle Sunday morning on my own pretty good. No, it's on Tuesday. Sometimes I can make it to Wednesday. By the time I get to Saturday, sometimes I am psychologically fragmented and I am emotionally exhausted. And I need to know that wherever I am, whenever I am, God is right there. Do you know that some of your most powerful experiences, the Lord, will not be when the preacher is trying to cheerlead you into worship. It won't be when the choir is trying to sing you into worship. It won't be when the musician is making the keys go up and down the scale and making you feel good about worship. Some of your most powerful experience with the eternal ought to be when you are all by yourself, when I don't need no music, I don't need a choir, I don't need a preacher, I don't need some kind of ecclesiastical involvement in order to have an experience to the Lord. Sometimes, even when I find myself in my office, I've shared this with you before, you need to find a place at work. Come on now. You need to find a place where you say, well, I don't have an office. Go to a bathroom. You need to find some space to where you can just look the Lord and say, Lord, I praise you not because things going well. I'm praising you right now on credit because of what you